Season's greetings to everybody. I just say Happy New Year, but season's greetings. Africa is one of multi-faith. Faith from all rounds. The Abrahamic obviously being the biggest, but we respect all faiths, all colors, all creeds, people from all backgrounds. And I'm just happy that we have arrived safely at the end of the year. And as we reflect on 2023, I'd like to first and foremost say that we must never forget the heroes of yesteryear. We must never forget those who came before us and who achieved great things. They may have had different visions, but they sat at the helm and they delivered. We have as well. And in 2023, that Africa are world champions. Through the Springboks, we raise our head and look ahead and we say congratulations to everybody. Mark Alexander and his boys have done us proud. Within Africa and Rugby Africa, we have continued with the mantle. When it is that you take over in Rugby Africa, unlike in politics, there is continuity. Our visions may be different, and mine is clear. Sport is big business. But against that, what have we done? We've ensured that the Rugby Africa competitions that were planned before I came were managed to the highest possible standards. And I'm pleased to say that some of the rugby that we've seen in 2023 has been of the highest order. We saw what happened in Madagascar. The ladies, extraordinary. 10, 15, 20,000 crowds watching women's 15s rugby was something else. Madagascar, the home nation, they deserve massive credit for what it is that they do in that country. Looking at the South Africans, the Kenyans, and the Cameroonians, all of which showed very high levels. And as we move into the future, there are many other African countries that will want to join in this process. Look at the sevens tournaments. Kevin Venkia's Mauritius, paradise itself. And I think it's going to be the first of many tournaments there. Standards, very, very high indeed. But perhaps the icing was not even the lady sevens that we saw up in Monastir in Tunisia, which was fantastic. And I say to Aref and his team, congratulations. But what about the tournament in Zimbabwe? Aaron, you and your team put on quite a tournament. And to watch the Kenyans beat the South Africans, that was really an indication of how far and where Rugby Africa is moving in terms of standards. But the difference is, our mantra, the mantra of this new Exco, my particular mantra, is that sport is big business. We're limited in just those trophies and the number of people who could compete in those trophies because of the amount of money that was available. And as we look at our vision that says that sport is big business, it means that we have to find routes to raise money. I've been into many African financial conferences and markets trying to pitch the imagery of what is Rugby Africa and getting the financial world to sit up and recognize that yes, indeed, sport is big business. The meetings at the Africa Investment Forum with the president of the African Development Bank, to others that I have pitched to at World Rugby, at the French Rugby Federation, at Agence Française Développement, AFD, all of which I've asked them for a mindset change. Within Rugby Africa, I've asked for a mindset change. Our staff are embracing it. Our Exco are slowly trying to embrace it. Africa is trying to embrace that mindset change. But that's only half the battle. The world that controls the money, the world that determines what we can do, also needs a mindset change to meet us halfway. And that has been the battle. We've professionalized what we do internally. Committees with KPIs and terms of reference. Not easy for some of my friends on the Exco to understand the import of this, but fundamental to the vision that I have in terms of going forward. And that back of professionalism has enabled us to table and argue and agree and then to vote on a strategic plan ahead of the other regions in the world. I've come into office and seen the problems that we've had. And therefore, rather than talk about a constitutional review, we've started the process. Framework, discussion, acceptance, disagreement, back to committees, back out again, substance in, and now it's with our own professor himself, Saeed, as he goes through it, looking at the processes, not necessarily agreeing, but that's part and part of the parcel. And then pushing it through until we send it through to external lawyers, back to the EXCO for that big debate. And then back onto our members who determine and give us our power. Yes, our power is derived from all 39 to 40 states within Africa who are members of Rugby Africa and have paid up their dues. So these are huge achievements that we have put together as we move forward, clearly trying to move the dial. And we all understand that money loves cleanliness, money loves peace, and therefore our own internal governance systems must be very clear. Perhaps the biggest achievement is that within 6 to 8 months, we were able to get the problems in Morocco resolved, and we were able to get the Vice President of Rugby Africa, Nasser Bourja, reinstated in his rightful position as the Vice President of Rugby Africa. We've tackled the governance issues in Cameroon, which are ongoing. We've put a pathway for the governance issues in Ghana. We've looked very clearly at the other countries who are going through AGMs and elections, of which they have to inform Rugby Africa if they want approval, and of which we're working with them very, very closely indeed. We are raising our standards higher than the rest of the world is raising theirs. And all as I say as we move forward is that we need to come together. We've changed our financial policy. We've looked at our models for competitions. We now insist that any country who's hosting a competition must pick up all the hosting rights. We are looking at ways in which we can raise the bar and raise the intake of money. My battles at World Rugby and the promises they've made, we're now trying to see if they are men of honor and they'll honor those promises. So we see increments in the amount of money that comes back into Rugby Africa to enable greater competitions. But I need to thank my members. I've looked all around at Fetang and the boys in Southern Africa, where Lesotho, Eswatini, Mozambique, Botswana have come together and have already staged competitions. I've seen what has happened between countries like Guinea and Sierra Leone coming together to play. When my dear brother Sofiane also said that Algeria and Senegal will be playing a match. And what about the incredible Godwin from Uganda, where the whole Uganda men and women's team have toured and have played matches in Tunisia. That is really something else. And I'm very much aware of the plans that are afoot, where Kamanda in Rwanda, Albert in Burundi are working closely with Tanzania and other countries to put together regional tournaments. Ghana has been playing Togo and Benin and one match in Burkina. Roland has also called about their own tournaments before the year ending. So despite it, we have a greater level of rugby activity than we've had in the past. And I say thank you and congratulations to all of them. It makes the work of working harder to raise money all the more motivational. Sport is big business. We are the world champions. And as we go into 2024 and 2025, we've sown the seed for possible investments in the second half of 2024 that should lay the right grounds going into the future. People who are interested in Rugby Africa are impressed at the way that we're operating. They're impressed with the cleaner transparency. They're impressed that agreements that we've had, like with AFD, have now been signed contractually, and we have the right to demand payment, which was never made in the past. The way forward is good. And this is not down to me. This is down to everybody. Rugby Africa is blessed to have a team of great staff who are working together and are embracing the new way forward. And all I say to everybody is give us time. 2024, leading into 2025 and 2026, you're going to see a stronger, wealthier, more determined Rugby Africa, so that by the time I depart, my successors should have a wonderfully strong, purposeful, competitive region. Good luck for 2024. And remember, Africa as one can never be defeated.